Alrighty, everyone. So it's about 5 after here. We've had a couple people still kind of filtering in, and I'm sure a couple more may join us as we get started, but that's totally okay. With that in mind, I think we'll get started here. So again, for everyone that's joined, I've tried to say it as people have come and joined us, throughout our setup session. But thank you again for joining us for our second Power Up training of the day. If you're here for year-end reporting, you're in the right place. Okay, so for today, our agenda is our focus is on getting the most out of our reports and extracts inside of RecDesk. What Jen, our wonderful presenter, is going to be covering today is going over reservation details for the year, some extra invoicing details, so wonderful nuggets of information that you might not be able to find easily on your own or beforehand that Jen's going to show you how to access and use on those awesome reports to show how great your organizations have been doing this year, and some of the best financial reports to utilize with those reports that you are creating on your own. Now, as I mentioned, my name is Nick. I'm a customer success manager here at RecDesk, and I'm going to be your moderator for today. What that means is at any point during our presentation, please feel free to use that chat box feature that we've already been using to introduce ourselves, right? If you have any questions or comments specific to year-end reporting, and I'll make sure to either answer you in chat or I'll bring it up to Jen at an appropriate time in the presentation, and she'll be able to answer for you visually, right, using the screen sharing feature. Of course, if you have any other questions not specific to year-end reporting, please be sure to reach out to our support team, as we do offer live support between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I will put that contact information in the chat here as we get started. And lastly, our awesome presenter for today is Jen. She is our tech support and Q&A manager, and just infinite wisdom when it comes to the kind of cool things you can do inside of RecDesk. And she's the one who's going to be talking about all of this year-end reporting information. So with that said, thank you again for joining us for our Power Up training. I hope that you pull something from it that's really beneficial for you. And on that note, Jen, are you ready to take over the screen and begin our presentation for today?
I am. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and take over the screen. There we go. All right. So there's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to go over today. Please remember, if you forget anything that I discussed today, this video will be uploaded and it will be available on our YouTube channel. And we're also going to make sure that we send that out to all of you so that you have a direct link to this. So the first, I'm going to go into our reports area just as a reminder of how some of these reports work and some things that you'll be able to pull from here. Always remember that in your reports in the area that you can run any of these financial reports for a full year term if you just need to see high level money information for how you've done throughout the year. I do have some groups that they like to pull the financial transaction details report to Excel and kind of create their own version of the report. And we'll often see this because some customers are looking to have processor reference information in the same available report. We're going to go over some fun things to do in Excel a little bit later, just because I'll go over it 3 times otherwise. But under the programs list, here are some things to keep in mind that are very helpful reports that you can run. Program report, this top one right here, if you are tracking your expenses on your program, this report will pull the information for how much money you made on that program, and it'll show you a detailed breakdown. Under memberships, there's also memberships by period list. This is one that I know that some customers use and others just haven't figured out a need for it yet, or maybe didn't realize it was here. This is going to show a breakdown of all your memberships. It'll show a high level of all the memberships combined, and then a breakdown here of the individual membership. Now, just so you guys know, the difference between primaries and why we have them listed, things listed out twice here, is that if you're selling family memberships, what you're seeing is that one person on the household is listed as the primary. So this way you'll get a list of how many households you have versus how many people are included. And it gives you the difference between those that are signed up new or those who are on auto renew, or you renew from the director end of the system. Some other fun reports are down here in facilities. You can run a facility program check-in report to get some high-level information. Now I'm going to go over a different way of pulling this data because it pulls to Excel a little bit easier, so you can have a little bit more fun with it. But this will give you a high-level overview of each location, how many people checked in, and for what reason. And also on the reports tab, we have activity counts. Now, some of you are aware of this piece of the system, and others maybe haven't played with it yet. You might be too new to have needed it yet. You do not have the ability to do as large of a date range here or a custom range the way that I can. If you need a custom range, though, just reach out to your customer success manager or support@recdesk.com and tell us what dates you need, and we can run the report for you and send it over. But this will give you that high-level breakdown of all your of everything that has been done within the system, and then a breakdown with your demographics, as well as the ability to see what's been done online versus in-house. Now, Nick, before I start getting into another tab, are there any questions with reports? Our core
No
reports
questions at the moment, Jen.
The next, I'm going to go into the money tab and invoice list. This is really where we're going to play a little bit more with Excel. And from here, this is where you can play with our show advanced filters. So if you wanted to look at your programs and you wanted to be able to see a report of what fees they chose because you have specialty fee names. So you want to know how many people signed up that are members versus non-members, or people who are the first participant versus the child sibling discount, any of those types of breakdowns, you'll be able to export this information to Excel and get that detail. Now, you can also check off reservations for those of you who need to do reservation auditing, such as being able to show how much money you initially charged for security deposits versus how much funds you kept. We'll be able to go over that piece as well. Now, here's something to keep in mind. If you're doing reservations or programs, it may be helpful to change the status to all, because that'll include any of your closed invoices. So for those of you who collect security deposits and you refund them and then you close the invoices, by switching to all, we'll get the closed, the paid, as well as anything if you're going current that might be overdue or due soon. And then you'll click on actions. And I like to export details. Obviously, you can pick and choose what ones you prefer. Now I'm going to keep type, and I want the description. Now fee type I'm going to pull so that you can see that information. Quantity is unnecessary. It is not going to show you a breakdown of the quantity per add-on fee, so which you may see. The only time you may want to see quantity is if you're pulling your point of sale invoices this way, because somebody could purchase multiple tickets, multiple drinks, things along those lines. And then you just kind of pick and choose what information you want to come out to Excel, and then generate the extract. So here I can see all of that information. Now I know I pulled my filter list for just reservations, and I see PGM here. That just means that that's a program, and that means it's a membership. Most likely the reservation and the program or the membership were all together, which is why it'll pull on this extract. So be aware of that ahead of time, because then you can come here to filter. And if this is the case for your organization where you could have multiple things on here, you can filter to just your reservations. As we see here, we're seeing the fee types. Now, those are the fee types that you've created on your custom lists. So these are how you name your fees. The description, though, is always a fun one. Ooh, there must be a long name one somewhere down there. Because this is now going to be something that you can utilize to break apart in Excel to know what facility was mentioned here. But just so you know, in order to break this out, it really helps to take this particular field and move it all the way to the end. Why are you not liking this today? Sorry, everyone, my Excel is being a little sensitive. Once you pull that here, what you're going to be able to do is click on Data and Text to Columns. And when you hit Next, what you want to do is select this other option, because what we do is we name it as the facility name, spacebar, and then that symbol. So you want to make sure that you have that here, because that's how we want to break it apart. And now we have one column that has our facility names. Please keep in mind that part of the reason I like having filters here and adding filters to this is because if you have multiple facilities listed on a reservation, the invoice extract will now say the multiple facility names, not just the first facility that's on the reservation like the invoice shows. So be aware of that can happen here. And for those of you who just need to know the difference between total paid versus how much they actually did pay, you have those line items here to do some easy Excel work with. And you can also take this and turn this into a pivot table. I'm going to show you a pivot table that can be used in a different way another time as well. Within Excel, under Insert, you click on Pivot Table. Keep in mind, if your column doesn't have a name, it won't allow it to be part of the pivot table. I've gotten yelled at before because I forgot to name my row. And then what you can do is come here and say, I want to have the rows be the different facility names.
Jen, I believe we lost your audio there potentially.
Oh, can you hear me again?
Yes, ma'am.
There we go. Sorry about that. And if I wanted to know the different fee types per facility, I can come in here and I can even have total paid. And within Excel, it'll now fill out how much total paid per fee type, per facility. Now you can drag and drop this however you want, whatever information you want. Please keep in mind, yours is probably going to look a lot cleaner than mine because I'm using a demo site. We create a lot of really weird facility names, some of which have very long titles to them. So please understand, mine's going to be not as clean as yours. Now, also within the Money tab, some other fun reports to just be aware of are your household balances. I know some of you have said that you don't allow credits to transfer from one year to the next. So this is a great way to just have a go to the household balances and look for who has household credit. And you can decide by looking here, oh, they have 500, but they owe 480. I'd rather clear out all but the $20, and then they either have a month, 2 months left to pay, to use that other $20 of household credit, or they lose it, or whatever the process may be that your organization uses. And to pay, you would just click on that person's name and click on account balance. This will take you on to a shortcut for what invoices are open for that customer so that you can go in and make a payment to clear out the household balances. Now, for those of you who have signed up for ACH e-checks, now that's an option that only government portal customers have. That's the ability to have funds pulled on a payment plan or on autopay automatically from their checking account instead of a credit card. It is a significantly lower processing fee, but it is only available right now for our government portal customers. This is a good report to run once a year in case your finance team has any questions about keeping track of the e-check returns that have occurred. And this information is right here for you. Auto pay history is another area that it's a super good thing to use for an end of year auditing or reporting tool. This way you can have the ability to come in and look at everything that failed, export that information. It'll include the why those cards failed. And you can also export successful if you'd like, so that you have an entire history of your successful or failed for auditors. Now, before I leave the money tab to start going over some other reports, are there any questions?
Jen, the only question I had received was regarding ACH, not specific reports, but is that specific to government portal, or does that apply to authorized.net payment processor users as well?
I have not had a group that that has authorized.net but doesn't use government portal sign up for it. There's additional paperwork and it's a bit harder. If they're interested, I'd like them to reach out to us at support@recdesk.com so we can help walk them through it.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jen. I have no other questions here in the chat.
So we're going to get into some fun reporting and some cool new features that came out and some reminders. Some customers have been reaching out because in their end of year reports, they're trying to compare year to year. Sometimes it's as simple as how many programs they ran and how many participants they had. Now, on your programs list, we do allow you to have a filter that goes out easily to 3 years ago, and it'll list 2018. 2 years ago, it'll have all 2019, last year, and this year. And you can export this information to Excel. And we've recently added the ability for you to select what items you can export to Excel on this report. So you'll get to choose. Now, for those of you who may want to use this report in another way, if you want to verify that all of your programs, because you have a lot of them, have fees, have schedules, or anything like that, we included those options here so that you can run an Excel report and very quickly figure out if you're missing that from any of your programs. And remember, you can always advance filter within your programs too by the facility that it's located out of, programs with or without fees, or with or without schedules as well. On the memberships tab, I'm going to go as a reminder, you can go into your past memberships and we allow you to export the information from here as well. Please keep in mind, active members truly means active as of the date you go to pull the report. So it's not going to show past membership numbers. If you want that type of number, either the membership list that I showed you earlier on the reports tab, or list of membership members, because here you can do expired all, and you can come down here and you can set the date range that you're looking for. And this information is also available to be exported to Excel as a basic or a detailed list. And now we're going to get to the facilities tab. This extract, when you hit Actions, Export to Excel, it's just going to show you the facility name, address, and city. But there are other fun reports that you can do within the Facilities tab. There's two that are built in, and I'm going to go over those first, and then I'm going to go over a workflow one for those of you who use check-ins. Under Facility Utilization, you can come here and choose your time period or facility. That's going to be too big. And we're going to have a report that's going to show you how much you're using your facility. And we'll have a breakdown by each room as well that you enter. Now, available days and available hours are going to be based off of when you build your facility and you say that it's open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And if you check off that it's closed Saturdays and Sundays. And we'll calculate based on your reservation times, programs, or league schedules, how much you're using that space, as well as showing you what's on check-ins or how many reservations you've had. And you can export this information to Excel as well. Under reservation search, the big heads up I will give to you all here. You do need to enter a date range. We did have to implement a block for anything longer than, I believe it was for a year. And please filter by facilities if you have a large number of reservations. If you apply filter and it's a lot of data, your browser may just get a little slow. And then click on your actions. I'm going to export all to Excel. This list is not going to show you how much they've paid. So if the reservation has already been paid, or if you're assuming all of the reservations in your system have been paid, you can use this report as well. Just going to filter this so that I can have the large fees first, because this will give you the breakdown of what's the security deposit amount versus your standard fees. Please note this add-on fee line is only going to be the grand total of your add-on fees, not a breakdown per add-on fee they select. And this is another great tool that you can utilize, and you can create any type of table with this or graph that you may need. Or if you're just looking for high-level numbers, you can just do sum equals, sum ofs for the columns. Now, one of the more complicated reports is going to be a fun one to go over. Within your facility and your facility check-ins, you can export or we say download check-in details, but it's exporting this information to Excel. Now, I've had a lot of customers that have asked me, I want to know what days of the week and time periods during the week are my busiest periods. So you can run this extract with just this date one. You do not necessarily need any of these other fields unless you are looking for a breakdown or want to know if they've checked into programs. With just the date field, what we can do is here in column C, we can go equals. Now I'm going to click on my FX symbol here so that I can use my text element, TEXT. And the value is this date right here. Now this format text, if I do DDD, it'll say WED if it's Wednesday, SAT for Saturday. If I put 4 Ds, it's going to say the whole day of the week. And once you enter that formula, you can double click and it'll drag down and give you those details. And from here, I like adding a new tab whenever I use a pivot table. This is a personal preference. You don't have to do this. It's really just a me thing. Make sure to label your column here for the day of the week so that when you insert your pivot table, you can choose those 3 columns. And you can have rows for your days of week, time for your columns, and I reuse date down here because date under values will give me a number of people with that date here. So in this very simple graph, I can see that Wednesdays at 11 a.m. tend to be the busiest time. However, noon is the busiest, tends to be busiest every day of the week except for Fridays. Now you can also use the date feature a little bit different if you want to know the more popular days of the week, or if you wanted to break it down by month, you could do a formula to just have this show the month as well. So please keep that in mind, that this type of a table is something you can have fun with, but we export all the information you need right there. And then under the members tab, I've also heard from groups wanting to know only the people who participated in camp for this summer or camp for the year before. This members tab is going to be easier than going into the roster for your camps, because instead of having to go into the roster for every camp and then removing duplicates, you can just hit the show advanced options. And then down here, if you named everything the same way or having the word camp in here, you can say that. You can even put the date out to today. And when you hit apply search, that'll give you all of the entries for people who participated in camp during that time period. Please know that you can also, if you're just trying to reach out to those participants, maybe to thank them for a great summer or tell them when registration will begin again next year, please utilize our bulk email campaigns feature. If you come here and you don't see that you have the ability, there is a big message that says that it's not turned on. Please reach out to support and we'll be able to turn that feature on for you. But when you create a new campaign here, under the select recipients, you can use that very same filter. And click on that apply search. Have the same 110 entries, but now, since I just need email addresses, this is going to remove duplicates. So if some of those kids are siblings, it'll just automatically reduce that quantity. Please keep in mind, whenever you're working with bulk emails, you need to just stay in the bulk email that you're building. You cannot open other tabs or other instances of RecDesk within the same browser. It will cause some issues to occur. Now, I don't know if I missed any. Oh, there's one more tab to go over. I'm sorry. For those of you using point of sale, either you're shutting down now or you'll be looking to do your end of year soon for your point of sale system. My favorite area to remind you of is under point of sale and locations is to select your location and do item history. This will let you see for your full year how many items were sold, starting inventory, ending, and your revenue. Now, this does not export to Excel, but if you copy from the bottom right to the top left, it will copy and paste into an Excel sheet very easily. Now, I think I'm hit all of the reports. Do we have any questions, or can you think of anything I may have missed, Nick?
I'm waiting here to see if we have any questions, but I have nothing that you didn't cover here, Jen. I was going to mention the point of sale, but you caught that here at the end. Otherwise, you touched on everything that we had intended on talking about today. So if you do have any questions, please be sure to put them in the chat box here. So Jen Lacey's saying that she cannot get the formula to work on the check-in spreadsheet and she's getting an error for some reason.
Did she manually enter it the way that I did with if you hit that and the equals and use the FX fields, you can search up here in the brief description to type in text so that you find it. Make sure you're using the one that's called text. Select the first date in your column and lowercase d's. I don't know why that makes a difference, but it does.
Thank you, Jen. That actually helped. So thank you for the question, Lacey. As one last reminder, if you do have any questions for us during this presentation time, please feel free to drop those questions in the chat. Of course, you can always follow up with us either on this topic or otherwise to our support center, which I will make sure to put that again here in our chat with both our phone number and our email address if you do want to get in touch with us.
I should also add, while I still have my screen showing, that if any of you have questions, our support center is right here. You'll find a lot of really great articles in here that might be able to answer your questions. If not, or if you're a more visual person, if you click on the PowerUp with RecDesk, we do post a quick link there to show off our PowerUps that we've posted to YouTube, or scroll down to the bottom and click on this icon here to get to our YouTube channel. You can also submit a support request right from here. So if you forget who to email, or if you forget our support@recdesk.com email, you can just check this button here and it'll send a support request, or you can call us and we have our phone number listed right there as well.
Jen, did you mention how long it typically takes for us to post the recording of this session to our support center? I apologize. I may have actually missed that.
I try to get it up by the next morning. So I try to, for those of you who are a part of this meeting right now, I need to edit the video a little bit before I post it. As soon as I get that posted, I try to do it before the end of the day today, but if I can't, then I post it by tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Jen. I couldn't remember if you had mentioned that in the one to make sure we cover that in case anyone would like to go back and review the information that we covered today.
Any other questions?
I don't believe so, Jen. I haven't had any come through to myself via direct message either.
Then I will say that we'll leave the meeting room open for a few more minutes in case anyone has any other questions. But thank you all for joining us today. And I hope you have a great rest of your week.